Okay, so welcome to this series on finding the truth in the middle, keeping it real with Sarah Spark Malone. This first episode is going to be about motivation and the bullshit myth that you don't need motivation to act. Because the truth is that you do. Everybody does. We all need motivation to act. Motivation is what gets us to move in the first place. And dare I say, motivation is not an emotion. Motivation is not a feeling. Consider this. Motivation is like either the push, like a magnetic push towards, push away from or pull towards something that we either don't like or do want. Discipline is kind of like the momentum that keeps us going, right? It's the chugga chugga, chugga chugga. If you picture yourself on these train tracks, motivation is like a magnetic jolt forward or a magnetic pull towards, that destination, the train station or the next stop, if you will, that gets the train to move, right? Now, that process is it's like an alchemy, a combustion of energy or desire or vision that gets you, the person, the train, to move in the first place. And this is why when I hear things like motivation doesn't come until after you take an action and then you get the feeling of motivation, I'm like, that's not true, because motivation itself is not the feeling. What they're referring to is the excitement or the desire or the love or the enjoyment. That's the feeling that you get after you take the action. But the motivation is what gets you started. Now, this can be both good and bad, right? People can be motivated to do amazing things, and people can be motivated to do really horrific things. Either way, they're either being pushed or pulled towards something. For instance, when I make a pursuit to, let's just take something really easy, really tangible, and something that motivation comes up a lot in, which is health and fitness, right? I want to lose 20 pounds and I want to start working out 5 days a week. That's the thing that I want to do, right? In order for me to actually be in a position where I do it, like I've taken the action, I'm doing it, right? I have to I have to have a motivation of some kind. Either I'm motivated by the vision or the image that I see of myself on the other side of that weight loss and that goal accomplishment and that success, or I'm motivated by not feeling like this anymore, right? I am so much at a point where I fear and I am repelled by the thought of me staying where I am or getting worse, which means gaining more weight and being more unhealthy, right? Either one. One's a push away from, I don't want to be the way that I have been. I don't want to be overweight anymore. This sucks. I hate this feeling. I'm pushing away from that. That gets me to act. Or I'm being pulled towards, which I believe is a better way to be, this vision of myself after I've achieved this goal and I feel amazing about myself. I've got my eye on that image and that vision and the clarity of that, right? That is what's motivating me to act. Then what happens after I get motivated and then I act is I actually feel something. My gosh, dopamine, right? Feelings, good, positive feelings, a little cocktail, if you will, comes in and I'm like, okay, reinforcement, right? It's reinforcement of the motivated act, but you needed the motivation. When this happens, when I hear, I just don't feel motivated, what I'm really hearing is that I've lost my vision of either what I'm moving away from or moving towards. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is so freaking good. I have lost my vision of the thing that I'm working towards, propelling or empowering outcome, right, at the end of this, or I've lost my vision of how painful the other way is. Either way, it's the loss of that vision from the push or the pull that is lacking in order to be the motivation to action, not a feeling, not a feeling, not a feeling. Okay, listen, I don't have a feeling every day about getting up doing hard things, coming to work, working on a mission that is very large, right? I don't necessarily feel all of these excitement and passion. It's not that I feel that all the time, but I always have motivation to do it. Why? Because I keep my vision of where I'm going front and center, front and center. This is why motivation being the thing where it's like, you don't need motivation to act. Yes, you do. You need motivation to act. And that's why it's so important that you keep your desired outcome or the pain of what's behind you. Ideally, it would be the ideal outcome or the empowering outcome that you're after in front of you, so that you don't lose motivation. Because once you lose motivation, you stop acting, you stop moving. So this thing that I hear about motivation comes after you act is, first of all, not true. You don't get the fuel to move the train after it's moving. You get it before. That's what's moving the train, right? And then feelings come along the way. And that only adds to it, right? That adds to the motivating factor. But there always has to be one motivating factor. That's the initial burst of go, do this, there, take the action. Then you get feelings that reiterate that, become stronger, stronger. But people will also be motivated to do negative things, right? People get motivated to kill people. People get motivated to rob banks. People get motivated to abandon their families, okay? We don't do anything without some motivation, okay? There's always a motivating factor. So the truth in the middle here is this. For those on this side, and if you're watching video, you can see, for those on this side that say, well, I just don't feel motivated and I need motivation to move. And those over here is, well, you don't get motivated until you move. Let's come to the middle and say that number one, let's honor you do need motivation to move, to act, to do things, to go forward. But let's also recognize that that motivation comes before the action in order for the action to occur, not after. After is where you get the feelings, the emotions, the good, positive reinforcement. Hey, okay, this is good. I can do this again. This feels good, right? However, if you are lacking motivation, it's just that you have lost sight of your vision in some way, either what you are moving towards or what you're going away from. And my encouragement and advice for you is to find that vision again. Because once you reconnect with your why, the motivation happens automatically. And if it doesn't, it means you haven't actually connected with your why, right? Maybe, just maybe, you're connecting with a why that you thought it was, but it's not really, or you're connecting with a why that is somebody else's and it's not really yours, which happens a lot in the case of the health client, or even the spiritual client who says, my marriage is rocky and I just need to fix myself, basically, when all along they're in a narcissistic marriage and they need to get out. Okay. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that sometimes it's not our actual autonomous why, and that's why the motivation doesn't come. Okay. So just a key takeaway is that if you think that you're reconnecting with your why, like I want to lose 20 pounds because I want to be healthy and strong, and it doesn't motivate you, it's not your why. It's somebody else's, or it's just a portion of it and you need to go a little bit deeper. Case in point, 7 levels deep, which is something that I do with my clients, both in the therapeutic setting and in the health and fitness side all the time. I want to be 20 pounds lighter and be healthier. Why do you want to be 20 pounds healthier and lighter? Because I want more energy. Why do you want more energy? Because I want to be able to live a happy life with my family. Why do you want to live a happy life with your family? Because I don't want to miss out on my kids' childhood. Okay, it's like we're getting somewhere now. Okay, this is why it's important though, because when you get to that core why, you will have all the motivation you need to take the action that you desire because you'll know where you're going or you know where you're going away from. And that has to be autonomous to you, which is why I say again, everybody needs motivation in order to act. Even Joe Biden is motivated by something to do the things that he does, even though he looks like a walking shell of a human. That's a whole nother series. So, motivation, do we need it? Yes. Motivation, is it a feeling? No. Motivation, are you not feeling it? Find your core why. You do need motivation to act. If you're not feeling it, stop searching for a feeling and look for your vision again. And no, you will not feel motivated after. I mean, you will, but you still need that initial motivation. Last piece I'm going to say on this before I wrap this episode up is when you get into those very short bursts of feeling like you have to force yourself to do something, right? Maybe you feel like you're like, I haven't lost out of my vision, but I feel like I just have to like force myself to do this, right? That's the discipline part. That is the discipline part. Motivation, discipline, they go hand in hand. Discipline isn't always doing the things that you hate to do all the time. It's only short bursts. I call them little sprints, right? Discipline sprints, where you actually feel like you have to be disciplined with yourself in order to get you to do these actions, and that feels more of like a forceful action, which can only be endured for a short period of time before you inevitably do lose sight of your vision or it needs to change. Okay, so the discipline comes in when you feel like you're forcing the movement to happen because you know what you need to do in order to get there, wherever there is for you. Okay. It's not that you have lost motivation though. It's just that for a moment, you're kind of going through this little uphill time. For picturing that train analogy one more time, we're either going around a curve and it's like, ooh, slow down. There's some friction here. There's some friction. Back on track, right? Back on track. Again, those are not very long. They're very short bursts. And that's where I bring in discipline to this motivation factor. They go hand in hand though, right? Because discipline, if you're disciplining yourself in something that you're not motivated in or you lack the motivation in that thing, it's going to last a very short amount of time. I'm going to use my partner as an example, right? He hates working out in a gym setting. He's extremely active, loves physical activity. But if I give him a workout plan, he can force himself to do it by mere discipline, I should say, for a couple days. And then that's done. It's done because he's not motivated because he doesn't see something brighter on the other side. And he definitely doesn't have anything to push away from because he enjoys what he does already. He enjoys being physically active outside, right? Getting his hands involved, getting his whole body involved. The structured workout just isn't his thing. So, yes, could he discipline himself to do it? No, actually, he can't because he doesn't have the motivation. So, you see how these things go hand in hand, right? Me, on the other hand, I know what I want out of working out. I also know what I don't want in my health and my body and the way that I feel, my cognitive function, all these things, right? I know what I don't want behind me. Sometimes I lack the vision of either the body I want to have or the health that I want to have. Or I'm in a time where I'm like, yes, I get it, but my energy is kind of low. That's when I pull on discipline to say, I'm going to do this thing, even though I don't really want to, or I don't have the energy, or I can't give it my full all because I'm motivated by the fact that I know this helps me. Does that make sense? So you can't discipline yourself to a point of feeling motivated. It just doesn't work. You'll just hate it even more. You have to have that motivation first, and then be disciplined during the times that vision or your energy or something's happening in life is happening. And then that discipline, that the energy that you're expending, disciplining yourself to do it, eventually caps out. You don't need it so much anymore, and you're driven by desire rather than the ruling thumb or the ruling fist of yourself. Okay, that's what I got for you guys today. I hope this helped. Please comment, share it. Let me know what your thoughts and feelings are on this. And I hope that I helped you find the truth in the middle. And I'm wondering, can you handle the heat of the sword of truth? Okay, guys, I love you all. Please rate, please share this episode or this podcast. Subscribe on YouTube so you know when videos come out. Pretty funny to watch, not gonna lie, on YouTube because my facial expressions are all over the place because I get very passionate about what I'm talking about. I love you all. Until next time, let's take the big scary topics, make them digestible for you, and hopefully I can help you find the truth in the middle. Just trying to keep it real, guys. With love. See you soon.